everybody. Welcome to EduMatch. Thank you so much for joining us. So I'm super excited because today I have a special guest on, a new friend, Meredith Johnson, the moderator of BookCampPD. So welcome, Meredith.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. It's exciting to be here.
Oh, super excited to have you here. Yeah, absolutely. Like you just do amazing work. So very excited to introduce you to the EduMatch community for those who don't know you. So I'll read a little bit of your bio. So Meredith seeks out others to work collaboratively within the integration of 21st century learning skills. She loves working with adults, guiding them in developing their academic skills, and using technology as a tool to help them achieve their goals. She is an avid user of Twitter as a tool for learning and a moderator of BookCampPD. So super awesome. Yeah. So over the next few minutes, we're going to get to know a little bit more about you as well as BookCampPD. So again, super excited to have you here.
Thank you.
Yes, pleasure. And so what's your background and who or what inspired you to go into education?
Okay. It's a lengthy background, so I'm going to try to make it shorter. Okay. But if I run on, all you have to do is say, okay, and next. All right. So I started in education back in high school in the 70s, 1972. I was in high school and I wasn't really connecting with a lot of the things. I was going through the coursework, but I was kind of bored. And a high school counselor, wonderful man, he said, I think you need to get involved in working in the schools. And so half a day I would go out into the classrooms and work in the school setting about 3 days a week. And then the next year, in my senior year in high school, I was involved with a childcare setting where a lot of the students that had babies, perhaps their infants would come into the school setting, and we would hold a preschool kind of setting for them. Then I started, after that, I went off to college at Southern Illinois University in Carbondale, and I received both an elementary and special education degree, and I began teaching right away for the woman that I did my cooperative teaching with. So that was great. There we were, same classroom, and it was all in special education. So I did that for many years, and then I had my first child. So after I think I was in my 4th year of teaching, I stopped teaching and I stayed home then to have 2 children. And the challenge in my life came about and I needed to go back into teaching. So I called the principal that I worked with, said, do you have any openings? And he said, can you be here tomorrow? And I said, okay. He said, I have a 6th grade teacher. Her husband was a professor at the university. He's leaving. She's going with him. And so if you can be here tomorrow for the rest of the school year, that would be great. Okay. So I jumped into that 6th grade teaching position, and I did that for the rest of the year. And then I went into a neighboring town the next year. And at that time, many special ed classes were what we called self-contained, where the children were with us. And I think this is good for the audience to know, like the continuum of how education has changed so much over, 4 decades. So I went into that classroom. I was with about 16 children all day long. The principal, he became a principal when he was 18 years old, because that was a long time ago. All right. And he was now 82.
Wow.
Okay. You see, the long time. And his whole perception was that those children were to stay with me all day long. He understood that I was going to get 30-minute duty-free lunch, but otherwise those children were connected to my hip. And I thought, wow, no, this is not the way that is best for the children. It's not the way that they're going to grow. And so I started my master's work then to become a special education director, so that I could hopefully implement change that would help the special education children in that area of Southern Illinois. I earned my master's degree in educational administration, but there weren't any special education directorships open, none, zip. So I switched gears and I became a middle school principal. And in a rural setting, also in Southern Illinois. I was there for 7 years. Then I moved after that to Wisconsin, and I became an elementary principal in an area right, the border of Minnesota and Wisconsin are right next to each other, and I was right on the other side. My family, most of them, was in Minneapolis, so I was real close to them. I stayed there for 9 years, and as the years went on, I kept adding additional hats: curriculum director, technology, professional development, grant writing, all of those things, until 9 years later, it was like, whoa, this is a lot. This is really heavy. And so I had been tremendously successful in writing grants and providing huge amounts of technology and books and programs, after school, middle school, transition programs. We also developed one of the first 4K 4-year-old kindergarten programs in Wisconsin. Huge amounts of things had happened, but it was like weighing on me. And so my husband and I and my youngest son went to Reno, Nevada, to Washoe County. Huge difference. It was going to be warmer. I would wake up lots of mornings in Wisconsin, and that little thermometer in the car would say 10 below, 10 below, 10 below. And so I thought, okay, we'll go somewhere warmer. And we chose Reno, Nevada. And there, we were there for 8 years. And I started out being an assistant principal, which I thought was great, because not so much of the workload that I had previous position. Then I missed being a principal and helping educators implement change. So I then went back into that aspect of being a principal. Then after that, I wanted another adventure, and I also wanted to go back to the state of Illinois. The schools in Illinois at that time were doing school improvement grants for the schools that scored in the lowest 5%. That district that I was hired by, they were doing a nationwide search for someone who could be a turnaround principal, could really implement the changes that were needed. So we then went back across the country to Illinois, to a school district there, and I was there for 2 years. Then it was time, okay, it's getting closer to when I can retire. So my husband and I then, we went to Florida, and now, I worked for the school district Collier County in the state of Florida for 1 year last year. And this is my first year of retirement, and I am transitioning into it. So I know that's a long story, I know, but that's 40 years in education, and working with amazing, amazing teachers and parents. Oh, I miss some of them so very much.
Oh, wow. Absolutely. What an amazing story. And congratulations to you on your first year of retirement. That is awesome. But you have done so much in your career. So that is wonderful. I wanted to give a huge shout out to Peggy and Rochelle, who are on the YouTube live. Yeah, they're on the YouTube live chat. So they're saying, hey, and they're saying hello, and they are singing your praises on there. So just
that's so thoughtful of them. So thoughtful. And that's part of what Twitter helped me do, was make the transition from being a principal for 26 years. And when you just stop that, my love for education, for helping, that didn't stop just because I stopped going to school every day. And so Twitter has helped me tremendously in making that transition.
Thank you for learning and growing with EduMatch.
The Teacher's Journey takes a deeper look at how we grow, learn, and succeed in the world of education. Throughout the book, you'll follow the journey of 7 incredible educators that share their trials and triumphs as they walk along their own journey. The Teacher's Journey will challenge you to reflect on who you are and why you are in education, while providing personal examples and practical tools to use right now. Pairing with the book is the Teacher's Journey podcast. There you can hear great educators as they reflect upon their journey and share the lessons they have learned along the way. You can find more information about the book the podcast, and lots more by visiting CostelloCorner.com, where you can also sign up for exclusive access to information, graphics, and educational training resources.
You are listening to EduMatch.
So you do a lot of connecting and growing with peers online. So would you say that your passion, where would you say that that passion came from? I think that you touched on it a little bit, but just to kind of revisit that.
Okay. My father, he was an electrical engineer and was always on the leading edge of technology his whole life. And that is the time when we didn't have cell phones, when he was instrumental in working all across the country. And I gained a lot of my passion from him in trying to always be innovative. And when he purchased a laptop, one of the first laptop computers, because you have to understand, when I began in education, there were no computers in any of the schools at all. And so he bought me a laptop computer. I then, in the early 80s, became involved in social media and what it was then in AOL, and connected with people all over the country. It was an amazing time. That then always, throughout my career, I've always been involved in staying connected with people using an online format.
Yeah, and when you said AOL, then I was just like, yeah, I remember those days. I do, with the dial-up modem and
Yes.
yeah, absolutely, absolutely. All right, so you've been doing a lot of work on Twitter with BookCampPD. So could you tell us a little bit about BookCampPD for anyone who might not be familiar, and how people can participate?
You bet. BookCampPD is a hashtag that resides on Twitter. And by going and following that hashtag on Saturday mornings at 9, anyone can follow along with the chats that go on along with BookCampPD. My passion was for starting BookCampPD, was that as I moved to Florida and had that year to reflect on all of the previous years before, I realized that as educators, a lot of what we learn is from the books we read and the people we surround ourselves with. And that's one of the first things that I have a graphic of on the website. And I thought, now that I'm not going to be walking the hallways of schools every day, how in the world can I take all that knowledge that I have, but still yet help guide educators who might be just beginning or might be in very rural settings, as I was in several times, as I mentioned? They need connections with others. And how can something evolve around books and connecting, collaborating with others? How could that all work together? And that's the fundamental steps of BookCampPD.
That is nice. I love that. Two of my favorite things. Yeah, absolutely. So that's wonderful. And there's really so much information there in the books. So what are some upcoming events that you have going on with BookCampPD?
BookCampPD, can I open that screen and show you?
Yeah, please.
Okay. All right. This is the website that was created to go along with the Saturday morning chats. The Saturday morning chats are only half an hour long, and often educators, they get a taste for something, but they want to know more. And so if I go here up to Twitter happenings and go to weekly chat topics, this right here explains that the chats are broken each week. It's rotated with a different kind of topic. The first one is book tasting, where people can come and share about books. The one after that is porch swing, which is sharing strategies and resources also that they gain from books. Shine the Spotlight is where they can brag about their classroom, school, or district, whatever they're implementing. And much of that comes from the books that they're reading. They grab a concept, an idea out of the book, and then they share graphics or they share words about what they're actually implementing. And then at the end of each month, we have the guest authors who come and they talk about their book. And during the month, during all of these previous ones, different little aspects of the book are highlighted. Like right now, we are doing Code Breaker by Brian No, I believe. I'm sorry if I even introduced it wrong. So this gives you, under the Twitter Happening tab, a little taste of what is going on with them. But during the summer months, that is here underneath the blog tab. And this was this concept of FAR, Friends in Reading. When I do things, I learned, sometimes the hard way, that it is so important to ask others for input and to do it with a team, not just by myself sitting here beside the Gulf of Mexico. And the whole concept of FAR, Friends in Reading, that came from asking someone their opinion. So did the books that will be highlighted in FAR. This graphic right here, can you see that okay?
Yeah, it looks great.
Okay. It explains the authors, because in the summertime, educators have much more time for reading. And so instead of once a month having an author, they will be every other week. And here on this graphic, it shows that our first one is the book Serendipity, and the wonderful author will be there on June 16th. And going on then to the other ones, all of these books here, these 6 will be highlighted during the summer. All of those books came from asking others on Twitter, what book would you like to have us highlight? And so that's what we're looking forward to in the future with BookCampPD, are all of those authors.
That is so cool. Yeah, I saw Jared Borman on there. So yeah, so yeah.
Jared is really active right now. He's on Twitter. He's sharing so many things about his book, and getting everyone to jump on board. It's exciting. It's really exciting.
Absolutely. Yeah, he is great. He is great and always sharing so much with the PLN. So that is awesome.
You are listening to EduMatch.
If you wanna be somebody, if you wanna go somewhere, you better wake up and pay attention. It's either now or never to make your dreams come true. You better wake up and pay attention. Hey everybody, it's Dene from Orlando, Florida, coming to you on Monday, April 2nd, 2018. And I am very excited because today is the official release date of my first solo book titled The Why in You. Journey to the Why in You. I'm very excited that this is available on Amazon in Kindle versions and in paperback. There's your back cover right there. I am so excited because when I think about my journey as an educator, it didn't start yesterday. It started even from an early age. And so this book contains anecdotes, stories about the why in me. And so as you read it, as you pick it up, and I encourage you to do so, I challenge you to consider the why in you, the obstacles, right? That were not always positive. They were not always easy. The journey's never easy, but it is worth it. And there is something positive in every negative if you can just see it. I really do believe that. There is something positive in every obstacle that if you could just see it, it will help you to continue going on that journey as an educator, as an administrator, as a teacher. And so we have a job to do. And so that journey is so important to be embraced. And thank you in advance for checking it out on Amazon. Again, it's The Why in You. You can even type my name in on Amazon. It should pop it right up. You can also go to denegainey.com and find it there. You can click directly on the link and it'll take you to Amazon. Again, thanks in advance for checking it out, and have a great day, as well as identify the why in you.
You are listening to EduMatch.
What are some of your favorite books for professional learning?
Well, there are so many. I have bookshelves upon bookshelves full of all of the books, and when you collect them over 40 years, and I was an avid member of ASCD, and so I got all of those books from them monthly, not quarterly. So books are just a huge part of my life. When I was a little girl, I didn't play with dolls. I had a library, and as my brothers would walk by, I would try to have them check out my books. They wanted no part of it, but that's what I did. And so books are just huge in my life. But some of the ones that I went through my shelf this afternoon, because I saw your question, and I thought, what are the books on all of these shelves that really impacted me as an educator? And one of them is Good to Great by Jim Collins, just phenomenal. The book Amplify by, I don't want to say her name wrong, but I think it's Kristen Zemke.
Yeah,
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. That book, you see, I came through many years, year after year, of wishing, hoping that we would have a book that would connect literacy with using technology as a tool to support that. And when she wrote that book, Amplify, it just like, yes, all right, we've got it. So that was really exciting. The next one is Focus by Mike Schmoker. That's just huge. Richard Allington was just amazing part of my life in understanding literacy. And so all of his books and the book he has on summer reading are, that's just, I think, something that every educator should have knowledge about to understand those early literacy concepts and principles, because they're the foundation which a lot of other things are built on. And then during my time in Reno, Nevada, the Hispanic population there was big, and there is a book, Hispanic Parental Involvement, which is huge, and I just totally recommend, because a lot of people, no matter which minority group it is that I have worked with, whether it is Native Americans or whether it is Black youth or whether it is Hispanic, when Meredith Johnson grew up in the Midwest, I don't have all that background knowledge. I don't have those experiences in my life. And so I think one of the important things that we do, of course, is have the one-to-one relationships and conversations with parents and community members. But you also have to understand more about that culture, so that when I sat down in those initial conversations, I wasn't constantly sticking my foot in my mouth and saying things that I had no intention of saying wrong or incorrectly. So whatever I can do in reading books about whatever minority it is, then that helps me as an educator understand more, so that I can move forward on a positive footing. So that book about Hispanic parental involvement, that was very important to me during my time in Reno. And then the last one is from Michael Fullan, and Leading the Culture of Change, because I think my whole life I have always pushed the envelope on change, and sometimes that has been very challenging, not to say the least, but it is always something that I've been involved with.
Absolutely. Oh, those are some great selections, and I love what you were saying about that culturally relevant piece as well, like being culturally relevant in terms of pedagogy and teaching, and just educating yourself on the culture that you work with. So,
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yeah, there are so many educators all across our country who have been raised in middle-class white families, and then they go in and they work with all different sorts of minority groups. But if they don't pause and take a minute to gain a greater understanding, then they just try to put their beliefs, their concepts on top, and it doesn't work very well. It doesn't work very well at all. And so I think I agree with you that it's very important, and I think it's an area that we all can talk about more frequently and continue to grow in.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. I totally agree with you on that. So, what can we expect to see from you and BookCampPD in the near future?
Well, I showed you the little graphic with our FAR concept, and I hope everyone will go onto the website and check that out. You can drop in for just one book or maybe two of the books, really connect with you, whoever, as an educator. And so it gives you the ability, all right, I'm going to be present during 2 Saturday chats, and I can talk and while I've read this book and communicate, collaborate with other educators who also have, because I believe all of the books that I have read, and I'm sure you have similar, we can read them, but if we don't collaborate and connect with others about the books we've read, a lot of it washes over us too much. We need to make connections and say, I read this part. Tell me, Sarah, how did that work for you? Did you read that part too? Did you connect with that? Or I read this part and I thought it was a great idea. I went and tried to implement it. And oh man, I fell on my face. It did not work. The kids did not like it. I don't know what I did wrong. What was your experience with that? So books are great, but I think collaborating with others is a necessary part. And there's a part in the website also for collaboration. So does that help?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. So that is fantastic. So I've really enjoyed our conversation today, and I know that our viewers will as well, and our viewers that are watching right now, they are as well too. I'm seeing the comments coming up. But if people want to contact you or get in touch with you online, then how can they find you?
Okay. You said about everyone connecting, right? I want to be sure that I give a huge shout out to all of the educators who have joined BookCampPD thus far. The whole concept began with Teresa Gross and I, and she is also on Twitter, working collaboratively in order to build this foundation of BookCampPD. And she did a marvelous job of helping me every step of the way. She's now gone off and has her own chat right before BookCampPD, PD for You and Me. And I believe that's the name of it. And, I just want to acknowledge her tremendous assistance in getting it all started, but also everyone who comes. If people didn't come on Saturday morning, they didn't add all of their thoughts, it wouldn't be such an enriching spot. So I might moderate it, but I think all I do is like guide, and it is all of the members of the PLN who make the difference, not Meredith Johnson, but all of those tremendous educators. So to answer your question though, okay, they can contact me at on Twitter at MJ, I think it's MJJ Johnson. Is that it? Let's see. Yeah. 1216. And that's the way they can. Or on LinkedIn. I'm right there on LinkedIn with lots of different things there as well.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for your time. It has truly been a pleasure chatting with you, and I'm looking forward to diving into some of those books and the upcoming events that you have going on. So really wanted to thank you for coming on EduMatch.
Yeah, thank you. It's been a wonderful opportunity to share what's going on. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Well, thank you. You are just amazing, and I just loved hearing about all the work you do. So thank you also to everyone who's tuning in, or everyone who's going to catch us on the replay. So this will be available in edited form in a little while, as well as in audio form on iTunes, Stitcher, Google Play, and hopefully soon to be Spotify. Fingers crossed. So we'll see. Yeah,
for you as well. That sounds wonderful. Way to go, girl.
Thank you so much. Appreciate that. So looking forward to that. And so for anyone tuning in, then we are off for this Sunday's Tweet and Talk. So for Mother's Day. So happy Mother's Day, and happy Mother's Day to you, Meredith.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Yeah, very welcome.
Been wonderful. Thank you.
Oh, yeah, it's a pleasure. And happy Mother's Day to all of our EduMatchers as well. So we will be back the following Sunday. We're going to have Josue Valez, who's going to be doing a Tweet and Talk about developing high-performing PLCs. So join us, same bat time, same bat channel, podcast. Yes, podcast with an s.edumatch.org/tweet talk, and you can sign up with on panel with podcasts.edumatch.org/sign up. So everybody have a great week.
Edge match. It's edge match. Edge match. It's edge match. You're at